Torment Warlock is still a great build in Season 2. This fan-favorite build gained quite a bit of more damage with some new items, like Heroes of the Swine for Decrepify, which gives you more damage over time, and we're now also using the Chariot Boots for more damage to Profane Veil, which also applies to the Profane Orbs, so you get up to 40% multiplier for Profane Veil. And for tankiness, we're now using Ravenous Void. So this is all kind of thanks to the guaranteed legendary slam, so you can guarantee the 1 LP, so those are now quite easy to use. This is still an amazing speed farming build, and the bossing is now much improved from what it was. It is still not gonna reach as high DPS as some of the other builds, like the super high DPS builds, but it's now quite respectable DPS as well. For maximum DPS while bossing, you need to execute a specific rotation, so you want to be spamming Ripblood for flat spell damage, and then cast Bone Curse, and then you cast Chthonic Fissure, so that way Chthonic Fissure gets all the flat spell damage for its whole duration. And then you want to use Profane Veil when you have all of these up. The gameplay for mapping is very simple. You mostly just use Chthonic Fissure, and usually that's enough to kill everything. For tankier rares and bosses, of course, you can use the rotation. And then for movement you use Unspect Transplant. Other than that, the build is still very similar mechanically to how it was, so you still deal both crit and hit damage, and you get crit chance from Acid Skin. So Torment Warlock skills, Chthonic Fissure is the way you apply Torment to enemies, and you want to get all of the scaling nodes here for Torment, so Torment gains more damage per Necrotic Res, also more damage per crit multiplier as well. And then you want to proc Chaos Bolts with this node here, and this makes it so you have a basically double fissure, so it's like a longer line. If you struggle with mana early on, you can unspec this node. So Acid Skin here, so you need to hit with the initial hit of the fissure to apply it. It gives you crit chance basically for your hit-based spells, and with this node you can scale the crit chance higher with increased poison damage. Ripblood, basically mana generator, also gives you a massive spell damage boost with this, so lots of flat damage and there's no cap on the buff here, so the higher cast speed you have, of course, the more flat damage you also gain, so very strong. And then you gain some ward from the Blood Orb, so these are gonna be ward when you convert it with this node here. And you also gain 9 mana when you cast it as well. Profane Veil, so basically makes you immortal pretty much, and also does a lot of damage with the Profane Orbs. So it basically spawns those orbs when you channel it, and you can scale the orb frequency with cast speed, and you also gain more damage per curse. And you get more damage here with this node, and this makes armor apply to dots. And you can cleanse the ailments with this node here, and you want to get the duration movement speed, so it's quite a bit better with this. Chaos Bolts, so you proc this with the Fissure, you never need to cast this yourself, so you don't even need to have it on the bar. Bunch of extra damage from this, of course, so it's a hit-based spell. Procs Ripblood here with this node, and you want to get the recast, all the mana-related things, so this helps a lot with the mana sustain. Just more damage on these nodes here, and you want to make it cold, so you also get Frostbite that way as well, and then you can get the chill here for free basically. And I go 1 point onto the fear, so this is kind of nice for mapping and stuff, so enemies just like basically run away from you. Bone Curse, so we apply it on hit with this node here, so this basically you manually cast it and it applies it on hit for 5 seconds. So you don't really need to use this much for mapping. You can still use it, of course, but usually the damage is enough like even without this. Bossing, you of course want to use it. With the Purse of the Swine Amulet, it also inflicts Decrepify. Decrepify makes the enemies take 15% more damage from damage over time, and it's also, of course, an extra curse. Other than that, we go for the Bone Armor, so this helps quite a bit for the tankiness while mapping, so you get Bone Armor on kill, so less damage taken. You get some Armor Shred also. You still need to build Armor Shred on gear, of course, though. So it also applies Mark for Death with this node here, so you don't need to go for the Mark for Death gloves anymore, which is nice. So passives are very similar to how it was before, so Necrotic Res, Int, Ward Retention. On the Warlock tree, you want to start with this one here, so the mana gain is quite important. You don't really want to go for this, so this is quite needed for the mana sustain while mapping. Int and mana scaling per int. You want to get 1 point here for Leech, so of course for the Twisty Heart you want to have some Leech, so you keep up your HP, so you get more ward from that. And then the damage reduction stuff. More armor per curse and less damage taken, very strong damage reduction stuff. And then You wanna get the ward decay threshold scaling per necrotic res. This is still good, even though it's a little bit less now. Very strong node, less damage taken while channeling, more damage damned while channeling, so nice with Profane Veil. And you want to place 1 point here into the Ignite and 1 point here to the Bleed chance to activate the multiplier for Chaos Bolts. And 5 points into the Withering, double damage, crit multiplier, and Anguish. And of course the Haste 4 points is nice, so we don't need to get Haste from anywhere else. And this node is very strong with the Profane Veil, so cast speed for curses also works for this node here. So you basically double dip on that. On the Lich tree, going for int, mana regen, necrotic damage, and you have the bleed chance point like I said, and then this is just a travel point pretty much to get to the int node. And on the new version here, I don't really build much poison damage increase at all anymore, so you just get what you get from the idols that you snapshot. So this of course important. You want to snapshot 2 of these idols with the increased poison damage while Aura of Decay is active. It's all explained here. So you basically put on the idols with the affix, then you turn on Aura of Decay, you take off the idols, and you put on your actual idols, and you still have the poison damage increase as long as the Aura of Decay is active. And then you can instead use Transplant as your movement skill. So you don't even need to have it on the bar, the aura still stays on, and you keep the increased poison damage. So that's gonna be 200% increase, which is 20% crit chance. And for the gear, so you want to maximize necrotic resistance, crit multiplier, and also cast speed. So those are gonna be your main damage stats pretty much. The helmet is very important for the build, so ward per second per necrotic res, and we of course have a lot of necrotic res because we stack it anyways. So Bone Clamor Barbute, very important to get early on. Marine's Lost Soul, still the best one to use for this build. Lots of stats, a very good item. And you can slam it with the crit multiplier. Cast speed also is very good, so if you have more LP, you can get both of those affixes. And the amulet here, so this makes Bone Curse apply Decrepify also. Also very good stats, a lot of resistances, attributes. Twisted Heart gives you HP converted to ward when you spam your spell, so basically Reblood. And we of course also get a lot of plus skills from it, so you get a Necro and Elemental spell skill levels, and then strength, cast speed as well, so and even HP, so this is a very, very strong item for the build. On the belt here, just a Chain of Uleros, very like easy to get common item. So you want to get at least one roll of cooldown, so you can use your Profane Veil more, which is of course much more DPS, so the 1d7 here is very effective. And this belt is so low LP that you can easily have even 4 LP on it, it's very, very easy to get this item. And for the boots, so this gives you 40% more damage to Profane Veil, and which also applies to the Profane Orbs. So very, very strong item for the build. And this applies for the whole channeling duration of Profane Veil, so you get just 40% more damage straight up. Also has increased damage per movement speed, which is really good. High movement speed boot as well, and then the resistances and everything, so very, very solid item. And Blades of Midnight, so for movement speed and necro penetration, so 20% movement speed from the swiftness at level 100. Other than that, we have exalted items, so on the ring here you can go either mana regen on the prefix, or if you don't need mana regen, you can also go, of course, increase necrotic damage or even increase poison damage for the crit chance is completely fine. So Ivory Ring is quite strong for this build. Of course, you can also go Red Ring here, so even 1 LP Red Ring can be very good, so it is of course nice tankiness and resistances, but the Exalted is very competitive ring for sure. And on Aspirational we do go for Ravenous Void, so nice tankiness from this item. Get like a 1 LP at least with cast speed, and it's a very, very good item for this build. Urza's Pride, pretty decent with 4 LP, so I wouldn't use it unless you have 4 LP, but if you have it, you get some kind of like free mana regen, good stats on it, so armor from strength and stuff like that. So for the idols, going for the same as before, so duration for Profane Veil and then necrotic resistance, first spell damage here, and so basically everything has necro res unless you need some res for, you know, for some other reses. Usually you don't, if you're min-maxed, you don't need. And just 1 frailty here, so that's enough to get your frailty chance. So overall, a very good build still. Gained a lot of damage from various items, and the tankiness is still quite good as well. So yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.